All right. Thank you everyone for joining us today. Today, Joshua Holloway is going to walk you through our workshop on how to build your own virtual employee using AI.
Yeah, good morning, good afternoon, and for some odd reason, a good night to whoever's tuning in from across the globe. I just wanted to say thank you for joining. And for those of you who typically come in and join our webinars, you're going to see something a little bit different. We decided to kind of go away from the cybersecurity, talking about how to protect yourselves and look more towards artificial intelligence. It's kind of the buzz right now. And I'm sure a lot of people are starting to say, like, how do I use it? What can it do for me? Am I afraid of it? Things like that. And what we wanted to actually do is take the opportunity to say, here's a way that we can get away from, I'm going to ask it a question, I'm going to get some information, I'm going to copy and paste it in an email, or I'm going to have it write an SOP, and then that's all I'm going to use it for. So today's idea, and what pretty much everybody's going to be going after, is we're going to learn how to actually generate an employee or somebody that we could interact with to help um, build marketing materials. And the idea behind why we selected maybe a ghostwriter or somebody who could build marketing materials was the fact that we wanted to kind of start the juices flowing and look at what were things that we could use this tool for. And I know, myself included, sometimes we have to write blog posts or other marketing materials, and it takes time. And with this tool set, you can actually have an automated employee that you can interact with, you can talk to, you can write marketing materials with, and then hopefully you can kind of get an idea of how AI can integrate into your daily tasks and it can be used. Couple of housekeeping items. Today, we will be using ChatGPT and we will be using a paid for subscription. So to fully complete this entire task, if you're following along, you will need to have a paid for ChatGPT subscription. This can be done in Grok if you have it paid for, or Gemini. We are going to hone in and use ChatGPT. Um, the other things we want to do is kind of help build up prompts, or how to write prompts, or how to clean up prompts. We've selected a couple that have worked best for us and the employees that we built, and we're going to actually build one live today. And then we're going to interact with it and chat with it and give it some information. Um, and then how can we safely and responsibly use it? This is one of those methodologies that we could use, and we can grow. And then hopefully you guys will have new ideas that maybe you want to ask me about, or somebody else, of um, how can we further deploy this. And then at the end, I'll go ahead and give you one of my ideas that I had upon using this methodology for creating an employee through ChatGPT. Uh, for those who signed up, everybody should have received a copy of the How to Build a Virtual Employee Guide. We have a copy of it up here at the end of the webinar. We'll be resending that out also with a link to this video so that everybody can kind of come back and learn or follow along or get a little bit more comfortable with us. Or if you had to tweak and we sped along or we went past where you were at, feel free to ask questions along the way. Taylor will chime in and I'll answer them, and then we'll go from there. So please be on the lookout, or if you don't have it already, get your virtual employee ChatGPT guide. We're going to go through real quick what we're going to be doing today. One is we're going to be creating a business profile, and that is, what is that industry? What is that industry and the geography that we're going to be honing in on? And we're going to build that business profile first. Second, we're going to build an avatar, and an avatar is going to be a persona of a person who works in that industry based off of the industry profile. And you're going to see how in-depth ChatGPT can go with the prompts that we provided. Gets a little scary sometimes, but it's making it up as it goes along. From there, we're going to build that ghostwriter guru. The guru is going to be that person who is going to eventually turn into your employee that you can interact with. You don't have to pay. I would say, be nice and have normal conversations with it. But that guru is going to be the expert in the information that you give it. So you can always teach it new things. You can always give it new files. And when we get to that point, I'll explain that to you, to where it better hones its craft or its look or its feel. And you'll be able to blossom that employee's capabilities with writing, getting it close to maybe your writing style. Um, you don't want it to be in my writing style because I'm very quick and direct, and I have to think about like long informational. So this, you're going to have to tweak that to fit the best writing style for the data that you're going to be putting out there. Last, we're going to interact with that GPT and how we can work with it within that given industry and geography. And then you can also share that with other employees to have them interact with it. And at the end, when we've built that employee, we're going to take the time to run through a couple of simplistic prompts that we have, and we're going to do it live as the employee has, I hate to say come alive, let's say activated as a computer. It's activated and we can now interact with it and it's locked into that persona. Hey, Taylor, as I'm switching screens, any questions pop up or anything?
Nope, no questions so far.
All right. Well, let's get going and have everybody in that screen. And here we go. So one of the things that we did today is, if you look here on the screen, we can see how long it's actually taking for these systems to kind of run through the prompts. And with ChatGPT 5, it gives a little bit more thought to the prompts that we're giving it. So I went ahead and ran through it today. This process right here with the prompt that I gave it that I currently have highlighted, and this is also in the doc that we shared with you.
Hey, Josh,
I'm going to go ahead, Taylor.
we're still seeing your PowerPoint presentation.
Oh, I apologize. How about ChatGPT now?
Yep, now I can see it.
Okay, perfect. Thanks. Wouldn't be I guess now you can tell that I'm not AI because there was a possibility I could have, cloned my appearance and had it run the run the webinar today, but we now know that that's not true because with a little bit of issues, kind of makes it more human. But as I was saying, we went ahead and we ran through and we let ChatGPT generate all of the personas. So this is going to be that business profile. So based off of this prompt that I gave it here, I went with the dental industry in Sacramento and Reno, and what they would be looking for in a managed service provider. So that's us, right? So give me a detailed business profile of that industry and for that region and what they would typically be looking at, how they would operate, what they're looking for in an MSP or IT. Now, this can be tailored to kind of fit your industry. Maybe you work purely with people from home offices, home businesses, and it can all be worked on or tweaked, but these prompts are pretty much a very good starter for you and where to go. So what I did after doing this prompt is I went ahead and copied all of this information from here all the way down, and I went through it real quick, but I'm just gathering all of this information, and I'm initially going to copy and paste it right here into this business profile Word doc. I created a new Word doc. Again, not doing that live, so you have to sit there and watch me fumble through, clicking save as and all that other fun stuff. But I created the doc already. I copied and pasted that in here, and then I went ahead and I saved it. And one of the things that I did is I gave it a name, following along with the doc, and I gave it an order, right? So I did 01 because that's my first doc that I created, and I said industry, geography, business profile. So now remember, we're honing in just on the business profile. I saved that into a specific location, and then moved on to the next step. So going back over here to ChatGPT, what you would do here in this, if you're following along in the doc, is you would go ahead and click on the link for the avatar builder there in the doc, if you're following along. If not, the avatar builder is a link inside of ChatGPT. We provided it, and it is a very specific GPT that somebody built on how to build avatars. And then what I did is I uploaded the file just by clicking the plus button right here, and I'm saying add a file or photo. I added the file, and then I gave it this prompt based on the doc or PDF, because you can upload either or. I just gave you, please give me a perfect avatar for a buyer of managed services. So what it did is it kind of broke down what that buyer would look like. And I thought that was great and all, and we had enough information, but really what I wanted to do is I wanted to hone in and maybe give me a persona or a person I can relate to, or my avatar, or my guru can relate to. So what I did is I gave it a separate prompt, and I wanted to hone in on like, give me a candidate. I didn't give it a name. I didn't give it a bio. I let ChatGPT come up with that on its own. So what you have here is now you have, because we're in the dental industry for this one, it's Dr. Emily Tran, and it gave me a breakdown. Pain points, what she goes through as a business owner, what she's seen. Then I'm saying, okay, great. Now that I have a person that I could relate to, let's break this down even further. Give me some emotional connector, something that I can write to or pull from, so that we're connecting a little bit better when we're writing our blog posts, our website material, any of that marketing material that we're coming up with. So now I'm trying to connect on an emotional level. So then ChatGPT being ChatGPT, hey, I want to give you an answer. It writes out an entire emotional connection string. And with that, I take all this information, every ounce of it, from top to bottom, all the way back up here. And I'm going to take that and I'm going to copy that into a new Word doc. And I'm going to paste it in here. And for just a little bit, I'm going to go through this file and make sure that my prompt questions have been removed and ChatGPT's prompt responses. So what that means is when I give it a prompt, it gives me an initial prompt response. That's this right here. And you'll see that where it'll say you prompted, ChatGPT responded. I take that out so that my files are really clean. And then I just kind of go through. Now, take the time to read this information. The reason why I'm saying this is you may want to tweak something. You may want to, maybe you know a lot about what dentists are actually feeling, or somebody in the industry that you're setting this up for, and you might want to tweak some of that information. Never take it 100% at its word. Read through, understand what it's generating. It really gets down to the nitty-gritty and the core. So once you have all this information copied and pasted into a new file, you want to do file and save as, and then you're going to want to use the name that we provided where it's industry, location, and now give it the avatar name. So just say avatar. Again, we're setting this up for what's going to be referenced later on. And me kind of helping everything out, I gave it an order of operations. So O2, so the second file that we're working with. Now, as we're going through here, if you're following along in the doc, you now want to activate the Perry Belcher Guru Writer. This is, again, another GPT that helps build a guru. This is going to be somebody who is an expert in the industries that we start to share, or an expert in a particular topic that we begin to share with it. And as you can see here, I've uploaded my business profile. I've uploaded my avatar, and then I've put in my initial prompt saying, okay, based on this information, in the doc, this is optional. I highly recommend it because it gives you more of a writing style. I have one marketing GPT that took on a persona of a general. So that one's really funny because every morning I feel like we have to get up and do PT when I interact with it. But these personas really help that character come alive as you begin to interact with it and work with it. For this practice, it gave us Joanna Gaines. It breaks down who she is, what she's done, why this is a good fit. And then what we did is we moved into, okay, now that I have this information, here's the big prompt, right? I'm going to go through, I'm going to tell it the name of the files that I uploaded for reference. So O2, Dental Sacramento, O1 in the industry. It seems out of order, but this is how the conversation goes. Now I'm telling the guru what you're going to be doing: blog posts, newsletters, articles, voice scripts. You can go into in depth as like copyright for websites, like whatever it is you want to feed into it. This is the time to kind of add to those communications. And lo and behold, when you get done, it gives you Miss Grace Whitmore. And Miss Grace Whitmore has not activated yet. We're going to build that here in a second. But, she's 39, 5'4", currently weighs 130 pounds, and happens to be 6 years younger than me. So she's out of Waco, Texas. So it really kind of gives you this person, this persona. And we're going to take this information again, and we're going to copy and paste all of this that it gave us into a third doc for the guru. And that's going to be this one right here. Again, same cadence, copy and paste all the information except for my prompt and my prompt response. I'm going to give it all of this info. I'm then going to save it, kind of keeping that same idea, industry, geography. Now I'm going to say ghostwriter. So it's starting to, now we have the profile, the avatar, and the ghostwriter, and then the order of operations purely for me. You could do that as well if it helps you out. We're going to take that information, we're going to save it. When you get done, you should have 3 separate Word docs, or if you're an overachiever, 3 separate Word docs and 3 PDFs, however you want to operate that. There are other times that I've seen, and it's a little bit more advanced, where you might come up with multiple avatars. And the reason why you may come up with multiple avatars is you want to have an avatar that's maybe experiences a specific issue, or an avatar whose life is set up a different way. Like for financial, if you think about it, you may have somebody who's a business owner, or somebody who's not a business owner, but they've done very well for themselves, and you want to be able to write to both. So building those avatars, you can make as many as you want, and we can upload as many as we want, because when the ChatGPT or when the GPT is built, it's going to interact with all of those files, and it's going to relearn, and it's going to further its education on how to interact. So we're going to save this file. We're going to come back to Chrome, and we're going to go into ChatGPT. And what we're going to do is we're now going to step into where this is absolutely positively the point in which you need to have a paid for subscription, because we're going to need to click on GPTs. You're going to get a page much like this. And in the upper right-hand corner, you're going to click on Create. And when you click Create, it's going to take you to a window that looks very much like this. And between the two, you have Create and Configure. Please make sure it is Configure. You can right here add a picture if you want. I have yet to ever add a picture of what my ghostwriter is going to look like. I think for that one, it made it just a little too real for me. But I went ahead. You could do that if you want. It's entirely up to you. When you click on those links or when you interact with it, that picture is going to be viewable. And then you're going to fill out the information. So we're going to give it, what's the name? It's good to give it the name that it came up with, and then an industry and a region, if that's really how that works out for you. Kind of play around with the name, but really use that guru's name that it came up with, so that it's a little bit more realistic, if you will, when you interact with it. Give it a brief description, and then in the description field, and then coming down to instructions. If you're following along, we have provided you your first initial base instructions. Again, feel free to chop it up. For me, obviously, I wanted to write information for IT services in given regions and in a given industry. I also know that there's certain things that I don't like. So again, I wanted to write in the voice of Grace Whitmore. That means it's going to go back and it's going to review that avatar guru, or the guru that we create. The other things I wanted to do is I wanted to stay away from M dashes. I don't know if all of you know this, but the M dash, which is this fun thing right here, is very indicative to artificial intelligence writing for you. It puts it in weird spots, it uses it everywhere, and for some reason, nobody can get rid of it. So the idea is, how can we really kind of take that out and make it sound more human? And again, if you're looking for the correct paid for version, the $20 a month version doesn't have to be enterprise. It needs, just a $20 a month standard ChatGPT paid for subscription is perfect. There is a setting in securities that you want to not share anything that you have put in ChatGPT with the masses or the LLM to learn from you. You want to go into security by going into your settings, and you want to mark it private. So everything that you're typing in, everything you're uploading is now private to you. Then lastly, in the knowledge area, we're going to upload the files. Think of these files in your GPT like core memories. You're a child, your core memories are built on your experiences. This is essentially a child. It has nothing. So we're giving it core memories. This is that opportunity where we upload the business profile for it to reference. We upload the avatar information for it to reference. And then we will give it its persona, its guru persona, and that's where Grace comes in. And here's another good time to where you could upload if you like a particular writing style, a layout, a format, put that information in here. You can also give it very specific information on your industry if you feel that that's something you want it to have, because what happens is every time you interact with this GPT, it is going to reference these files, because what happens in ChatGPT is over a certain amount of time, the memory gets wiped of the conversations. Yes, you can go back to the conversation that you had in GPT or Gemini, Grok, whatever it is. But when you reference an older conversation, it has to go back and reread. It's not pulling it from remembering that it interacted with you 2 weeks ago on that particular prompt. It has to go back and relearn. So what we're doing is essentially giving it its memory files to always reference the moment you interact with it. Now, once you get done with all of the knowledge and all the information, you're going to click create. I do only me. You could do anybody with the link because you can share it out. I'm going to go ahead and say only me. I'm going to click save. This is now taking all of this information and it has created my GPT. And lo and behold, inside of my account, as soon as it gets done writing, I now have Grace Whitmore for dental in the Sacramento and Reno area, and I can interact with it. So we're gonna go ahead and interact with it live by taking and popping in some prompts. And this is our initial prompt. Please explain the instructions I have given to you in the most detailed way possible so that I know that you'll be able to do this job to my satisfaction. This is your interactions. We're not starting off by saying hello and good morning. We're just being programmatic about how we interact initially. So right now it's going to go through, it's reading this. ChatGPT 5 is a little bit more thought heavy, so it takes a little bit of time to do this. It's going to run through. As you can see, it's now reading those documents. It's telling you exactly what it's doing, how it's doing it, why it's doing it, and how it's going through. And then once we finish out and we get our first initial response, we're going to give it another prompt when it comes up. All right, great. She's responded with the information that we've given her. It's broken down. Now it's using the avatar, right? So it's going to be often an owner dentist like our avatar, Dr. Emily Tran. It's going to go through and say, and I'm writing in the context from Sacramento, Rena. What are the things that we worry about? Well, we worry about HIPAA. We worry about California controls for data security. We worry about Nevada's controls for security. What are their pain points? Like, what are the different things that we can talk to? Okay, great. Goes through here, gives us our content angles, it gives us our interactions, structures, research, all the way through. I would say at this point, she kind of has a good understanding. So let's take it to the next level. Please write a 1,000-word featured article for my readers about what measures a dental practice in Sacramento and Reno, Nevada should look for in a great IT service provider. Right? These are just test prompts. Feel free to chop these up, use them your way. All right, she didn't have to think too long on that one. Uptime matches chair time. I actually have heard that many a times from other dentists that I know. That's pretty legitimate. So we have our essay. We could take this, we can tweak it, we can reword some of it, but in a matter of seconds as we interact, here is that 1,000-word article that we just put together. So imagine that it just works. Backups you can actually trust. These are things that typically people may hone in on. Okay, cool. So we have that information. Now, let's give her a hard time about how she wrote. This reads like an encyclopedia. So there, at this point, she's learning from our interactions. And I know I keep saying she, again, the context is that our ghostwriter is a female, but she's interacting with me. We'll get to a point where I will say good morning, we'll interact, or good afternoon. I've even heard of one coming back saying, after seeing how they were doing, they told me that they were worried about how their tomatoes were going to be in the summer's heat. So a lot of weird things and conversations happen, but now we're in this process. So here we go. We told her it looked like an encyclopedia, and now she broke it down a little bit more and a little bit easier to read. And it looks like I'm going to have to refine some of the things because she's breaking one of my biggest pet peeve rules is the M dashes. But that's okay because this information I will continually tweak, and we will talk about how that doesn't need to be in there. And I'll continue to change her knowledge files and update because this has to be removed and we don't want to happen. And this is where honing that information, and I might have to say it a different way, or I might have to say, do not use eh, the M dashes or anything like that. But ChatGPT being ChatGPT, we have them everywhere, and we don't want that. But this is why you also proofread your work, make sure it's accurate, and you save some time. And then lastly, if you wanted to give it additional prompts or work with it even more or further refine it, our prompts are kind of set up for how you can refine your knowledge information or any of that info that helps tweak their writing. So knowing what you know, what are some questions that they may ask? So now we're getting into sales. What kind of questions would they ask me when I come in to sell them services or give them IT services? And this is kind of what we would typically see. Going through this, I can now see what she came up with for a couple of questions that she would be looking for from an MSP provider. Now that that's all said and done, what do we do with that? Well, at any time when you come back in here, we can see that Grace is here. You could do a new chat. You can come back to Grace or whoever you have. You could say, morning. Our interactions are way different. So now we're having a conversation. I'm going to get ready to give her homework. These are our interactions. I would say definitely be nice to it. There's no reason to teach it to be mean or have it have like a snarky retort. Some of your GPTs may have snarky retorts based on the famous person persona that you give it. Again, going back to the one for aerospace that I have, I do get a fair amount of snarky retorts, and that's just because of the persona that we've given them. If you need to alter or change your GPT, all you have to do is click on GPTs and then click on My GPTs and then go to the ones that you have. And then all you have to do is click Edit. It takes you right back to where you want to be. And then you can alter your instructions or you can add files whenever you need. And then you just have to click Update if you want to save that work. And then you kind of take it from there. Based on that, guys, that's your first GPT employee. And I think one of the ideas I'm hoping this blossoms for you as well as it did for me is what different ways can we use this for? And I told you at the end of this, I would share with you one of the ideas I had. And one of the ideas that I had was building a trainer for inside the company that you can share with it training materials, how you would typically train somebody, so that then after you have gone through your training with that employee, they could interact with the GPT to ask it questions. And the reason why that idea came about is that GPT can answer the simple questions because usually a new hire is a little bit timid or they're, hey, I just started this new job. I want to put my best foot forward. I'm not always going to ask questions because I don't want to be a burden or I don't want it to seem like I don't know what I'm doing. But by having a GPT that's not going to judge you for the questions that you ask, it's going to gather and give you that information. This is another way to have that employee be a better employee, starting off on the right foot, being able to ask any question it wants and to be very comfortable. And then if it doesn't feel like it's gotten the right answer, it can go to a human who might have more of that information. But then now you're kind of working with a digital coworker as well as a trainer, and hopefully information like that would help out. And I'm actually really curious, what kind of GPTs or ideas could anybody else come up with? And if you have questions, feel free to reach out to me or ask away. I love answering questions. But guys, we've come to the end of our time, and here's how you built your first virtual employee. So I'd love to take any questions that you might have.
Josh, we had just one question come in asking about the paid subscription and if it's possible to share that with other employees within their company or if they're the only ones that could have access to it.
All you need is the $20 a month subscription. Per licensing standards, I cannot tell you to share your username and password with somebody because that would be in violation. Everybody should have their own named version. You can go into teams or groups, higher paid for versions, and then that's where you can collaborate or share, and that information is locked down a little bit more to you. So feel free to do something like that or explore something like that. I personally wouldn't share my account. I do a lot of different interactions. I want it to hone in on just me. And if you ever feel really crazy, go ahead and ask ChatGPT for it to define who you are as a person based off of all your interactions. It's a little insightful or frightful, however you want to go with that. Any other questions out there, Taylor?
Nope, that was the only one that we had come in.
Okay, wonderful. We'll give it a couple of minutes, see if any other questions pop up, and then we'll go from there. Hey, Taylor, did you come up with any ideas of a GPT for yourself now to help you out at work, other than all mine that I've built?
I know it's definitely helpful for with all the marketing sides of things. And I definitely would be interested, in some of the training ones that you had mentioned. Just because it like when you are onboarded onto a new team, sometimes it is scary to, go up to someone and, have the questions that you have.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. I think that one's a beneficial one and can help any business. And it can be built in ChatGPT. It can be built in Copilot. I know I didn't touch on Copilot today. That's an entirely different webinar and a bigger lift. But Copilot, you also have these capabilities to do things like this inside. So anybody who's out there, a Copilot user, I have Copilot on my system. I interact with it, and it reads all my emails. And no, it's a great little tool to have embedded in Word, Excel, PowerPoint, all the different Microsoft tools. But if you are looking at Copilot, the nice thing about that is it's locked into your tenant, your Office 365, and that information is not shared beyond that. So that's another thing to take a look at.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Taylor, as we wrap up, any other questions pop in?
It looks like one more quick question.
Sure.
What is there any type of information I shouldn't be sharing when creating my GPT?
I would not share personal company information until you've confirmed 100% that it's locked down and it's not sharing that information with the learning ability of the LLM that's condensed into your account. The reason why is you don't want to accidentally give out sensitive information. If you're not sure on how to set those security sensitivities, again, reach out to me. Contact information has been shared, and we'll help you get that locked down. All right.
Awesome.
Time for one last question if one exists. If not, we're going to give everybody the opportunity to take off and get ready for lunch. All right, that's it. Everybody, I want to thank you today for joining. We'll be posting this up, and then you guys can feel free to read it, use the doc, tweak it. If you come up with something great, I definitely want to hear about it. I want to learn from what everybody else comes up with because I know I can come up with so much, but more minds are better. So everybody, thank you again. Thanks for joining. Looking forward to putting another one of these on for you. Have a good one, and thank you.